What's up, YouTube? I'm going to go over 5 things that I do not like. I don't want to say hate because it's a strong word, but 5 things I strongly dislike about my 2022 Subaru WRX Limited. This could apply to the 2023 as well because they're the same exact car pretty much. And I feel like I can compare this to a VA WRX I used to have from 2015, so kind of some of my expectations coming from that generation to this generation. And yeah, I'll just go over some things that I dislike about it real quick. All right, so first thing that I hate about this generation WRX is this engine. I wouldn't say I necessarily hate the actual engine itself, 2.4 liter turbocharged engine. It's just the 271 horsepower just isn't that much anymore, especially coming from a VA WRX with 268 horsepower, and that was 7 years ago or 8 years ago. I just expected more coming into this generation a bit, especially with the STI not coming out for the 2022 model year. I was expecting and hoping around 300, 325, but instead we got plus 3 horsepower, which is good enough, but in general, kind of lacking in today's terms. All right, so second thing that I hate about my 2022 Subaru WRX is this bad boy. See, in general, it looks pretty good. Has Apple CarPlay on it. Granted, it's only wired Apple CarPlay, so I had to add this little dongle here to be wireless. And then you can see this dongle automatically, the disconnect all the time. Apple CarPlay wirelessly, granted it could be the dongle too, but in general, I don't know why they didn't include it, wireless Apple CarPlay, but it disconnects quite often. If I hit a bump too hard, it'll disconnect. In general, this infotainment screen is pretty glitchy. It freezes a lot. I have to restart it a lot. I press and hold this button for like 20 seconds to turn it off and turn it back on again. While I'm driving, it's kind of a hazard. I don't have the newest system update yet, but one of my biggest pet peeves is just turning it on the heated seats even, is just you have to click there, and then you got to click here. And whenever it's cold outside, when you need the heated seats, it's pretty laggy. So, you press it and it doesn't even respond for 2 seconds probably. And then you got to click in and, do another couple clicks to get it right. But in general, this infotainment system sucks pretty bad, I would say. Just with the amount of time it freezes, glitches, and the lack of ease of use while driving. So the third thing I hate about this WRX is the suspension. In the 5 things that I loved about this car, it was also the suspension. It's definitely just a trade-off between kind of what you want. If you have short commute times and you like to rip around corners, the suspension is perfect. If you have a longer commute and you have kids in the back seat, you can't really take the corners too hard or anything, get on it too much. The suspension is almost unforgiving. Sport-wise, it's very good. You can feel all the feedback in inclement weather, potholes, little bumps, gravel on the road. Feel all of it. But in longer commutes, road tripping, kids in the back seat, you're going to look at, it's going to be more of a complaint about the suspension itself. It's a little stiff. You can feel every little thing underneath you. It can definitely eat you up a bit. I would say if you had longer than a 50 or 60 mile commute daily, you're probably going to get tired of it. But if you're under 40 miles round trip, I don't think there's any problem in it, but definitely not a road trip car in my opinion. Fourth thing I hate about this WRX is probably the backseat space. That's with my daughter's car seat. The front seat, the passenger seat's set for me at 5'9". You can see there's about no room to lean that seat back or move it back in general. I can't really do anything with the car seat. And I would just say this this cabin feels a little cramped. Granted, it's a sport compact, but in general, the utilitarian viewpoint on this car, when you have kids especially, is a little skewed. Granted, it does have 4 doors, can fit 5 passengers, quote unquote, but I wouldn't want to put anyone over 5 feet back here, to be honest, with us sitting up front. Yep, so just one of the things I hate. And the 5th thing that I hate about this WRX is just the lack of anything that it's overly good at. You know, it has okay horsepower, okay torque, okay cabin space. It gets decent gas mileage. I can get, you know, probably on a long commute over 150 miles, I can get probably 27 miles to the gallon. On my 20-mile a day commute, I get about 21 miles per gallon. And that's with premium fuel, so it gets a little expensive for how small the car is, and you know, it's not overly powerful or anything, so I'm not sure why it couldn't get slightly better gas mileage. The brakes are okay at best. They're very spongy, to say the least. I would definitely recommend upgrading the brakes. In general, it's just it's a good car. It's not really great at anything, which I guess is the thing that I hate the most about it. Is it's not really good at anything. Well, thanks for watching. I guess the conclusion is that the most thing I hate about this car is its utilitarianness, it not being overly good at any one aspect of driving or commuting. It's kind of just you know, jack of all trades, definitely master of none kind of type of vehicle, which can be good for a lot of people. Just to me, coming from a VA, that's where I kind of was expecting a lot, you know, better performance, better horsepower ratio, you know, ratings, torque ratings. Granted, I knew the size of the car, but performance wise, I was underwhelmed.